So in this series of tests I'm going to run a couple different locations, a couple different maps, all using the F-18 Hornet, just to get an idea, so consistency of what the FPS happens to be. So, and it's really an interesting view from here. It's hard to capture in the camera in one shot. I don't have these displays on down here because I don't want anything extra being sucked out of the card. So we're going to do it just clean on a triple wide. I am running right now 2560 1440 on each of these monitors. I was running full 4K previously, but running that, and I wish I would have captured the frames per second on that. It was generally high 20s, low 30s. This is all single player. I don't do a whole bunch of multiplayer. But I already, just by changing the chip and bringing it up to a 1440 resolution, I'm seeing 44. I'm sitting on the deck right now. Just a look here before I start running these tests. I haven't changed any of these settings between changing the graphics card out, or actually even with the other processor, which wasn't recorded. So textures high, some ultra in their visibility range, and clouds. You can see the resolution there, 7680 by 1440. Cockpit resolution 1024. I've got a lot of the sliders maxed out with forest details, scenery, preload, forest visibility down a little bit, grass clutter kind of in the middle. Field of view's up because of my giant field of view here. Nothing, I think, too crazy. It's certainly not all maxed out, but you'll see what the numbers look like as I run through the test with both the RTX3090 and the RTX4090. My wallet hurts. And we'll go ahead and launch off and then run the next set of tests. Getting off the deck, we're up to high 40s, touching 50s. Pull the gear up. Won't spend a whole lot of time here, but we're back up in the 50s and cruising along. So next up, next test. Now up Syria in a free flight. Nothing else has changed. Really great view all around. They're focusing up there on the FPS again. Just low 50s, touching a 49 a couple of times. Nothing too radical, but certainly flyable and smooth. No issues here whatsoever. The view is just absolutely gorgeous. To just be able to look left and right and see what's out on either side of you. And I do have VR and I wear it in like IL-2 and such, but it's just so much nicer not to have that scuba mask on your face and be able to just see everything that's going on in your peripheral vision. But anyway, low 50s in this test. Pretty good results so far. And again, this is with the 3090, but with the 7800 X3D AMD, 64 gigs of memory, DDR5 at 6000. And we'll do one more Caucasus, a little lighter map, and see how that works out, see if we get any improvement in there. Okay, this is the Caucasus, free flight again. Everything else remains the same. Pretty heavy clouds here, but we're still managing high 50s, low 60s in this map. Actually some high 60s there, popping around, so a lot lighter map. Clouds are still pretty good here, but results seem to be a little bit better, but kind of in line with what I expected, being as this isn't quite as detailed map as, say, Syria or Marianas. Still a fun map to fly. And still sitting right at 59, 60, 61. Some good results there. So I'm going to do one more test. I don't fly the Apache very much, but we'll try the Apache sitting on on the ground in Syria, just to get an idea, and a little bit more complex, I understand. See if that impacts the results at all. So here we are back with the Apache, a ramp hot start in Syria. I don't have my collective hooked up for this one right now, so I can't really fly it, but we'll just get an idea what the, I hope it doesn't take off on me. But really good view out either side of the Apache, loving that view. But more importantly, the FPS up here is sitting on the ground, 41, 42, pretty steady, just bouncing around there. So it is a little bit heavier hit to the graphics, but not unexpected. Still decent, could fly this. Keep in mind, these TVs, I mean, these aren't OLEDs or anything, they're just 60 megahertz LGs. You know, my frames really don't get up above 60 at this point, so I don't think I'm losing anything here. Certainly love to fly something in 120 hertz. Just these monitors were so cheap when I bought them, monitors, TVs. I bought them at Target with some discount coupons at the time, a couple of Christmases ago, and I paid $216 per 70-inch TV. So I was running, previous to that, a couple of projectors, and I ended up selling those off and building a whole new rig and buying the TVs, and had money left over. And though I enjoy the projectors, they were just such a pain in the ass to constantly calibrate. Just even heating would bring them out of calibration, and I just didn't enjoy the experience. I enjoyed it when I flew, but this is so much easier to deal with, and I kind of get used to the frames of the TVs. Really don't notice it when I'm flying, more concentrating on other things. But I've been sitting here a while, again, 40, 41 on the ground. Don't have a chance to fly it, but just give you a chance to see what it's going to do against the 4090 when I put that in. So all those tests are going to be up next. Stay tuned. So when I got the 3090, I thought that was a huge card, but the size difference just is amazing stepping up to the 4090. I hope the board holds it. Didn't do anything crazy here. This is just an Asus tough gaming, not even overclock one. Managed to find it at MSRP. Just felt pretty good about that, and these days with graphic cards. But of course it has the 4-pin or the 4-pole connector here down to the end. So hopefully it doesn't catch on fire or anything. We'll see. We'll put it in and fire it up, and more tests to come. So here we are back. I managed to get this ginormous video card installed in that case. Still got to tie up the wiring a little bit. I just want to make sure I don't bend that new high power connector there too much. But I'll tuck it in and get that all tidied up and stuff. The case runs pretty cool. I'm not really a big RGB fan. It just happened to come along. The EK Cooler Elite had 6 on it, so I made use of the fans, but that does take up a lot of space. Hoping that runs fairly cool. The 7800 seems to be a pretty cool chip, and I got it water cooled as well. But here we are back, same situation on the deck, and look at that. Before, I was hitting low 50s, occasionally down to 48, 49, jumping up to this 4090 card. Now I'm hitting mid to high 60s, it even touching 70. So, you know, it's a lot of money. It's more than I wanted to spend. I almost choked when I sold one of my 3090s for about half of what I paid for it 2 years ago. But just to enjoy this sim and many others that I fly, to me it was well worth it. So we're gonna launch here and see if those numbers kind of stay stable, and then take a look at some other scenarios. Keep an eye on that. 65, 63. Oop, got a few dips there. Gotta try and fly with my knees so I can put the gear up here. But I mean, I'm seeing numbers climbing into the 70s and 80s just off the deck. Kind of a bad shot up there, but now I'm seeing 80s. So this is fantastic. Really both the chip and the video card. So let's take a look at the next scenario, and that's Syria with some flying. Okay, here we are in free flight in Syria. So go ahead and kick this one off. Might want to take this out of burner.
This is the free flight mission reporting.
So right off the bat, I'm seeing low 80s. Get 77 or so there a couple times. Now it's mid-70s. And I'll show you my settings here. I'll put it at the beginning of the video. Didn't crank everything up, but let's get down on the deck a little bit and see what the impact is there. You know, we're still seeing mid to high 70s. And I realize this isn't over a giant city or anything, but just doing an apples to apples comparison from where I showed you on the 3090. Climb some altitude here to get rid of that annoying noise, but we're looking pretty good. I mean, well, oh my God, almost 30 FPS from where we were with the 3090. So a heck of a climb. Take a look at the Caucasus, where I expect, I don't know, maybe to hit 90s with that one. We'll see. Yeah, I realize it's paused right now, but I just wanted to take a look at up there. I mean, that was high 50s, low 60s with the 3090, and now we're 95 on a pause screen. Let's kick this off and see how she stabilizes out. Oh, I saw 100 up there a couple of seconds ago. Yep, it's bouncing around, but pretty consistently staying in the low 90s. Getting some high 90s now. I'm just really impressed with this combination. I'm going to go ahead, maybe next video, and throw the monitors and the game back to a triple 4K. It probably won't be amazingly flyable, especially in multiplayer over a heavy city or congested deck, but I just like to see what the numbers look like compared to where these were. As I said, with the previous chip, the 10700K, which wasn't overclocked, and the 3090, which also wasn't overclocked, really high 20s, low 30s. Could pop up a few times in some open areas, and honestly playable in a single player, but multiplayer, really not where you want to be. But this is gorgeous. This is where I want to be, and these kind of numbers, it's smooth. I'll have to check it out with the VR later, and maybe I'll add some comments on where I am with those numbers. As I said, I really don't like flying VR for this game. I got some hardware and almost all wing stuff, except for these CubeSim monitors, which I'll be replacing. Not the best in the world. They work if you have them directly plugged into the motherboard or on a very high powered hub, but the USB is just so glitchy. If you hit them too much, they would, on a low power board, they would absolutely disconnect, and when you're flying, the whole screen shifts on you when they disconnect. Just an awful experience. So would not recommend these. I'm going to go with the WinWing ones. The ICP is an old one from Red Dog back, I think from SimHQ days, maybe 7 years ago. It's held up well, works great, everything functions the way I want it to. But I'm going to add the WinWing F18 UFC, and over there someplace in the pile of junk I have over there is the A10 one, so I'm pretty much covered under any way I want to go. So one more shot here. I'm going to fire up the Apache and see where that goes. Actually, let me just keep it focused on here. I'm going to dive down onto the city down here, the village, and see what the impact is on the frame rates. Keep in mind this is Caucasus, so I don't imagine it's going to kill it 70 there a couple times, but completely flyable. No problem with this whatsoever. This is really what I was looking for on the last upgrade. Didn't achieve it, so I'm really going to enjoy this one. Maybe I can actually connect to the tanker more than once in a year. All right, back with the Apache. Okay, so Apache in Syria on a ramp hot start, and we're seeing, well, not bad. I mean, in 60s. I think these are closer to 40 with the other card. So you've seen it bounce around a lot there, but I'm certainly happy with that. We'll take that. I might just be encouraged to plug in the collective and fire it back up and figure out how to fly these things. Really looking forward to the eventual A6 whenever that comes out. In another life years ago, I used to fix those, so I have a fondness for the A6 and dumping bombs on people. All right, well, that's a wrap on this one. 4090 upgrade from the 3090. CPU in these tests were stable, remained the same amount of memory, everything else remains the same. And again, we're running a triple 1440 here. I will attempt to do another video. Actually, I'm going to run it in 4K and see how it looks, and if it's worthy of posting a video up, I will. If it's showing it's still in the 20s, then I won't bother. But thanks.